Good afternoon. My name is Ernest Asamoah. I am the one taking you through Christian religious studies. Today, we're going to treat history of Islam. That is from Mecca to Medina and then back to Mecca. That's what we're going to have this afternoon. Please do make time to enjoy this class. We can say that Islam and Judaism has a connection, and that is a fact. When you read Quran chapter 22, verses 77 to 78, it is found there that Islam has a connection with Judaism. And I hope you all know what Judaism is all about. Judaism is the religion of the Jews, the descendants of Judah, the third son of um, Jacob. His descendants are known as the Jews, and their religion is Judaism. And Judaism was founded through Abraham, and Abraham is considered as the father of Judaism and also a prophet in Islam. You know, Abraham gave birth to both Isaac and Ishmael, and um, Islam traces its origin from um, Ishmael, and then Judaism also traces its origin from Isaac, with Abraham being the father of um, Isaac. The Jews consider Abraham as the father of Judaism, and so since all these two religions are originating from Abraham, we could say that they have a connection. Uh, they have a connection. That is why we are saying that Islam and Judaism has a connection. And also, Islam recognizes some Jewish leaders and prophets. Example, in Islam, Adam is known as Adama, or yeah, Adama. And then Enoch is known as Idris. According to the Jews call Noah. The Jews call Noah, but the Muslims call um, for the Muslims they call Noah as Nuh. Yes, and then Abraham, Ibrahim, Isaac, Ishak, Moses, Musa, David, Dawood, Solomon is also known as Suleiman, and then Jonah, Yunus. John the Baptist is also known as Yahya in Islam, and then Joseph is also known as Yusuf, and then Almighty God, Jesus Christ is also known as Isa in Islam. So this is how Muslims recognize some Jewish leaders and prophets. To the Muslims, um, the Jesus Christ is a prophet. So that's how it is. And then they also recognize some Jewish histories like Abraham's sacrifice to God. When God asked Abraham to sacrifice his son Isaac, Muslims recognize that Jewish history, and they have, I think, Ramadan. Yes, they celebrate that Ramadan festival to remember the sacrifice that God asked Abraham to use Isaac for, and Abraham being obedient to what the Lord commanded him to do. So that is it. Yeah. Now, point D. Islamic scriptures recognizes Jews and Christians as fellow believers in Allah. That is into bracket, people of the book. In Islam, Christians are known as or referred to as people of the book. Yes. Reference, surely the believers and the Jews and the Christians and the Sabians, whichever party from among these truly believes in Allah and the last day and does good deeds, shall have their reward with their Lord, and no fear shall come upon them, nor shall they grieve. According to Quran chapter 2, verse 63, Christians are known as people of the book. So, both Jews and Christians are referred to as people of the book in Islam. That is according to Quran chapter 2, verse 63. So, now we can confidently say that Christianity, Judaism, and then Islam are somehow connected to each other. That is it. Now, the birth and early life of the Prophet Muhammad. Prophet Muhammad had parents, and the name of the parents were Abdullah, being the father. Abdullah. Abdullah was the father of the Prophet Muhammad, and Amina was the mother. Amina, yes, Amina was Prophet Muhammad's mother, and then the grandfather was Abu Talib. Abu Talib, and then his uncle was Abdul Muttalib. Abdul Muttalib. Abdul Muttalib was Prophet Muhammad's uncle, and he got married to Khadija. Khadija was the wife of the Prophet Muhammad, who was 10 years older than the Prophet Muhammad. Yes. The Prophet Muhammad started having revelations, and when he started sharing his revelations, in fact, he drew persecution unto himself from the people in Mecca. He was residing in Mecca, so that was where he was called as a prophet. He was called as a prophet in Mecca and started having the revelation of the Quran. And as a result of that, persecution started in Mecca. So he had to migrate to Medina. And the migration is what is meant by Hijra. The migration of Prophet Muhammad from Mecca to Medina is what is known as Hijra in Islam. Hijra. So that was a major turning point in Islam in 622 Christ era. That was when the Prophet Muhammad migrated from Mecca to stay at Medina because of the kind of revelations he was having with regards to the Quran and the people persecuting him as a result of his revelations that he was having. So he had to migrate to Medina to start everything over from there. That is it. Now, there was a war between the people or the followers of the Prophet Muhammad, the people he was able to gather around himself when he went to Medina. Those people followed him to Mecca. So there was a war between the Meccans and then Muhammad and his followers. And that war was named as Muslim Quraysh War, which happened in December 629 CE. And that war was purposely to capture Mecca. Now, Muhammad has been able to start his religion by name Muslim or Islam. So the followers of Muhammad were there were then called Muslims. Muslims. So the war was named Muslim Quraysh War, and the purpose of that war was to capture Mecca by the Muslims and then convert the people to Islam. And that happened because the Muhammad and his people were able to overcome or defeat the Quraysh people in Mecca. So they ended the conflict between the Quraysh and the Muslims ended. And when it ended, Muhammad and his people had won the battle. So Mecca fell for Muhammad and his followers. So now Mecca has been Islamized. Islam has gotten hold of Mecca. So that was when Mecca became an Islamic center. That was in December 629. That time, Muhammad and his entourage came from Medina to wage a war between themselves and then the Quraysh people in Mecca, and they were able to defeat the Quraysh people and converted them to Islam. So as a result of that, Mecca fell for Islam. So Mecca was Islamized in December 629 CE. Okay. Now let's consider the following tasks. 1. Describe how Islam is connected to Judaism, as I have explained. You can go through, or you can go over the slides and then get the explanations very well, and then you answer them as it has been given. Okay. Then number 2, explain with relevant examples the connection between Islam and Judaism. So you give vivid examples to explain the connection between Islam and Judaism. And then number 3, question 3, you justify with relevant quotations that Islam and Judaism are mutually connected. I gave quotations from the Quran, and you have to justify with relevant quotations that Islam and Judaism are mutually connected. Okay, so try and answer these questions, and let me get them. Let me get the answers through 0277415566. 0277415566 on WhatsApp. 0277415566 on WhatsApp. God bless you.